Hello, welcome back to my channel, Snips by Kelly. I'm Kelly, and tonight we're going to create a layout that focuses on unlikely added embellishments that are more cost effective and will help us be able to stretch our paper pack and sticker sheet to create a larger workshop. So my Simply Scrap and workshops are designed for simple scrappers, and they're guaranteed to be a lower price point and have a minimum of 10 pages. So my unlikely add-on is this starter layout kit. It's actually called starter layout kit number 1. All of the pieces are pre-cut, so it comes with these 2 background pages, some added punch-out pieces, some die cuts, and some photo mats and additional parts and pieces, including your photo place card holder. Now, in the past, I always used the Picture My Life cards, the paper pack and sticker sheet, and whatever bling came with a particular line to create my Simply Scrap and workshops. But close to my heart, discontinued our Picture My Life program, and I have been devastated. I loved those Picture My Life cards for being able to add extra pieces to workshops. So I've been struggling finding the right complement or embellishment to be able to add to my Simply Scrap and workshop. So this Simply Scrap and workshop is going to use the Cozy Up pattern paper and sticker sheet, which is typical for what I would normally do for my Simply Scrap and workshop, and it has all of these great patterns, 6 patterns, which is actually 3 two-sided pattern papers, and it's a wonderful fall theme. And then it has this great 12 by 12 sticker sheet. Cozy Up is concentrating not just on fall, but on some other themes like having tea and doing some reading. So it would work great for reading with small children, or if you're a person who just loves to read and has your playlist. It also has these great dots. Now, because I don't have my Picture My Life cards anymore, I have chosen to try to add this startup kit and actually use it in a different way. These startup kits would be amazing to just put the layout together as is, but I'm actually going to do something, don't gasp, but I'm going to cut it apart, and I'm going to use a lot of the bits and pieces in the same manner that I would normally use my pocket cards. I typically cut apart my pocket cards and use them for added embellishments so that I get 10 full pages, a minimum, sometimes 12, in one of my Simply Scrap and workshops, but it keeps the price point low. So what you see me doing here is actually cutting out the outer frame of this background page, because I'm actually going to stretch it so that I can use part of that background, which is an additional pattern, as the base for one layout, and the pieces that I cut out of that middle as the foundation for another layout. It's just another way that you can kind of take materials and supplies from one thing and use them in a different way to create something additional. So the first thing I do when I'm creating my Simply Scrap and workshops is I take a look at all of the recommended coordinating colors from the zip strip, and it will say that on that. So we have a little desert rose, scarlet, honey butter, mocha, paprika, we have a little bit of pine, sage, honey butter, and there's a little melon in this. Also, toffee is a recommended color, but there's melon in this startup kit. So I'm going to actually try to coordinate melon with those other colors, and I think it's going to work great. So basically what I'm doing is I'm measuring those pieces here, and you can see my measurements there of what I cut out of the interior, and I'm adding a little desert rose in those measurements to this layout. So the measurements are 9 1/4 by 8 1/2 on the left page and 9 1/4 by 10 3/4 on the right page. And I kind of like how those 2 desert rose pieces can come together in the middle, and then I can build on that. But by adding the startup kit, it gave me a whole extra pattern and 2 whole extra bases to work with. But look at all the extras that I still have. I still have photo mats, I still have banners, I still have punch outs, I still have doilies, I still have stickers, and then I have the regular Cozy Up stickers to work with as well. So I went ahead and added white bases in there, 9 by 8 1/4 on the left and 9 by 10 1/2 on the right. To pull in that melon, I backed my photos that I want to use with melon cardstock. So I have a 4 by 6 photo that I did a 4 1/4 by a 6 1/4 melon frame, and then to draw back in some desert rose, I added a 4 1/2 by 6 1/2 card base to that. And then on my 4 by 4 photos, I added 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mats. I said card base, I meant photo mats. So now I'm just taking a look at some of the pattern papers that I have in Cozy Up, trying to coordinate the Cozy Up patterns with the startup kit patterns. And there's lots of possibilities here. So I may add some strips to the left of the base or onto the white daisy. So I'm just kind of trying to see how I can draw some of those in. When I look at the leaves are a possibility. When I look at the pumpkins have some desert rose in there, and also the mocha crisscross would go well with that. So I just want to draw in some of those patterns into the startup background pattern. So what I have done is I have created a 2 by 9 inch, 2 1/4 by 9 inch strip, a 1 by 9 inch strip on the left, on the right, a 1 by 9 inch strip of the pumpkins, and a 3/4 by 9 inch strip of the crisscross. So let me go over those again and make sure I said that correctly. I'm just going to tear toward me and tear these pieces. If you tear away from yourself, you won't see the white core. If you tear toward yourself, you might see the white core. And what I'm saying here is I'm saving those little bits. I have actually used those little torn off bits before, so don't laugh at me. So let me go over those sizes again. 2 1/4 by 9 on the pumpkin strip, and 3/4 by 9 on this crisscross mocha strip on the left. On the right, 1 by 9 on the pumpkin strip, and 3/4 by 9 on the mocha brown crisscross strip. So I'm just tearing this little tiny strip, this 3/4 by 9 with my right hand because I'm right-handed, and then it's able to be flipped over. When I get to the pumpkin strip, I actually tear with my left hand. I'm not so great with my left hand. I'm not one of those that's kind of ambidextrous, so sometimes I have to flip my pieces around to be able to tear them functionally. All right, so now I think that's going to add a lot to add those strips to the left and the right page and just pull in some of that Cozy Up. I'm not quite ready for fall yet, but I've been a little stressed out because I don't have Picture My Life cards. So for every paper line that we put out, I create 2 different workshops. I create a Sparkle and Shine workshop using the workshop kit for that line, and I create a Simply Scrappin' workshop simply using the paper pack and sticker sheet, and before the Picture My Life cards and the bling. But now, not having the Picture My Life cards, I wanted to create Cozy Up Simply Scrappin' ahead because I had to figure something out. I had to figure out what I was going to add to the paper pack and sticker sheet that would take the place of those Picture My Life cards that usually help me stretch that from maybe a 3 2-page layout workshop to a 10 page layout workshop, which really makes you have more bang for your buck. It's much more cost effective. And I always promise my Simply Scrappers that I'm going to keep a very low price point, and I'm going to not add things that require equipment. So that means I'm not allowed to add Cricut cuts like I do for my Sparkle and Shine. I'm not allowed to add thin cuts and stamping like I do for my Sparkle and Shine, even though those things would be wonderful with what I'm doing right here this evening. It's the promise I make to my Simple Scrappers. They like it simple. They don't want a lot of add-ons. They want basic functional pages that can still be beautiful. So now I'm just showing how I typically put adhesive on one side of strips that I tear and leave the edge of them without adhesive so I can literally just tuck smaller pieces under. That way my extra torn strips that I'm creating don't have to be the full width of the strip that it's under. It just has to be a smaller strip, and I can slide that under just so the amount of it shows that I need to show. So that's making that come along, and it's actually helping to coordinate the two sets, the patterns that are in the startup kit as well as the patterns that are in Cozy Up. Sometimes you look at those things and you think, well, they're unlikely combinations, but it isn't uncommon for us to have florals with fall. I love that long sticker that talks about reading. I love the doilies from the startup kit. I love the die cut flowers. I could totally use the banner from the startup kit. I could add some of the flowers and the leaves from that kit. There's so many possibilities. I love the books. I think that I probably read with my grandchildren every single time that I'm with them. But I don't know. I was digging around and I literally don't know if I have photos of that. And that's a shame because it's an activity that we do so often. So I decided what I was going to do with this layout is I am going to purposely collect in the next couple weeks photos of me reading with the grandchildren. So what I like to do here is I like to use my anti-static pouch, and I like to pull off some potential stickers and take the sticky off of the back because I don't quite know what I'm going to use and where I'm going to use it, and I want to be able to move those stickers all over on the page until I decide what bits I'm going to use and what bits I'm not going to use. I did pull out a couple 4x4 flip flaps because I likely will add flip flaps so that we get some additional photo opportunities. Right now we have 5 photos for this layout, but I'd like to be able to do a little more decorating but not lose the photo opportunities. So I think I could get 2 or 3 more photos with those flip flaps. So now I have all of my stickers, die cuts, and bits from both the startup kit and the Cozy Up sticker sheet, and I'm just going to play around. I took the sticky off the back, so now I can play around with those and sort of figure out what looks cute, and I love to do that and pull those pieces out so that I can actually play and embellish. Embellishing is my most favorite part of all. I absolutely love to embellish. So you're going to notice from the startup kit we have some more orangey tones, we have the more melon tones, we have more leafy feeling, and I don't know if that startup kit was designed to be a summer kit or a fall kit. It maybe has a little bit more of a summer feel, but it has some fall tones in it. So I think I can very easily get by with adding those florals to pumpkins, those florals to leaves. I love that concept of adding some florals in with the books. So, oh, I love that little snail. He's so cute. Now the snail has some brown in it, so I might pull that brown leaf over to be able to pull some brown in over off to the left, maybe just adding a couple little leaves to those books, and just kind of making a little cluster over there. So I would have the cluster of flowers down on the corner. Of course, I'm not adhering anything down. I'm just playing right now. I love making clusters that sort of hug the whole bottom corner of a photo. I think it's beautiful. So maybe making it so that your leaves and your flourishes stretch out and point outward and upward to create that little corner area that hugs. Just kind of looking at what I have left here, maybe pulling some things over and now working on the right page a little, and then I still have the option to change up the left page. I do love the idea of adding a flip flap, maybe doing a little decorating on the flip flap. We do have this great word paper from Cozy Up, and now that I've actually added some of the Cozy Up pieces, that word paper actually goes. Before, when I was just dealing with the melon in the startup kit, I felt like that Cozy Up paper was a little clashy, but now I think I could cut a 4x4 piece of that. We would have the option to use the leaves, but I do think I would probably cover up the leaf side and put a 4x4 photo in it. I do want to draw over some melon to keep coordinating the startup pieces with the Cozy Up pieces. So I did a 3.5 by 3.5 inch melon and a 3 by 3 inch white daisy that I think we could decorate. Now, don't call me crazy, but here's all those little weird pieces that I tore off that would normally be throwaway pieces. But this sticker over on the left that I want to use has some scarlet in it. And the back side of some of those pieces that I tore off is the scarlet pattern from Cozy Up. So I thought about tying it in by using a couple of those torn pieces, or even one of those torn pieces on the bottom of that 3x3 to tie it all together and to sort of offset the scarlet on the left and pull over a little scarlet on the right. We also have some scarlet in some of the pumpkins in the pumpkin paper, and I think that would just be really neat. And then now I kind of have a series of 3. If I do a little decorating, I would have a visual triangle. If I do a little decorating up in the upper right on the right page in the flip flap decorative element there, then drawing down to the flower cluster and going back up to the upper left on the doily would give me a little bit of a visual triangle, and it would draw your eye down to the left across the photos on the right page and then back to the upper left where the doily is to come across the photo on the left page. So if you've never used our flip flaps before, I have used those in previous videos, and I'll link that video here in the description. I just used a lot of these flip flaps on my Simply Scrappin' Cape Cod workshop. And that workshop, I did well with that because it had such a big embellishment kit. And so I didn't have to do a lot of adding on of something extra. But Cozy Up, the embellishments were the dots. And so that is why I am using the startup kit here to add more embellishments to Cozy Up. So now I have just mounted those pieces together, and I've added on that little torn bit, and it just adds so much. It's so silly that that little torn throwaway bit would add. So now I've added some foam tape, and I've said before in my videos, the rolls of foam tape are really my go-to, but I think I will probably be using up these bits from my shaker windows until they put me in the grave. So I had a project where I gave all of my customers some shaker windows. And they didn't need the foam bits because we were actually cutting down a round shaker. And so they needed the acetate, but they didn't need the foam bits. So I've been using all kinds of foam bits up from about 75 circles. And then I can't remember if it was a Stamp of the Month kit that had a shaker element in it where I needed some rectangles. And so I had all the foam left over from some rectangles. So I have been using these little square bits until the cows come home. And I love it. I love it because Close to My Heart designed that so we didn't waste the interior of those shaker pieces. So I have literally added foam tape to the books, foam tape to the So Many Books, So Little Time sticker. And I typically add foam tape to the top piece of a cluster, but I did add foam tape to the large flower and to the snail. And so that's why I'm putting the other bits flush, and then I'll pop up the large flower and I'll pop the snail up, but I'll only put foam tape on one side of the snail so that the other side of the snail can stay flush with my popped up flower. Then I realize here that I just was going crazy with embellishments and I hadn't even put my photo mat down. So I had to lift that up and put some adhesive and straighten that out. So I was so excited to embellish that I didn't even put my photo mat down. So now I'm coming back in and I'm adding those bits, and I'm loving how it's taking shape, and I am feeling relief as I'm doing this and I'm putting this together, because I didn't want to discontinue my Simply Scrappin' workshop. I have so many simple scrappers that love doing my simple version. I have tons of sparkle and shine style scrappers too that love all the things. They love me to add everything I possibly can to the workshop kits to create 12 pages with that as well. Also, with a larger theme, many of my paper crafters will do both. If it's a vacation theme or Christmas or themes where they have so many photos, a lot of my paper crafters will actually get the workshop kit and they'll create 12 pages of sparkle and shine, and they'll get the paper pack and sticker sheet, and they'll create the Simply Scrappin', and they'll get 10 pages, so they will have a 22-page album if they combine my Simply Scrappin' workshop with my sparkle and shine. So I didn't want to discontinue my Simply Scrappin' workshops, but because the Picture My Life cards were discontinued and I've literally been using them as an add-on for my Simply Scrappin', I'm thinking for 4 years, I was so stressed out, like, how am I going to do this? So that's why my Simply Scrappers are really lucky, because I've done my Cape Cod Simply Scrappin' and my Cozy Up Simply Scrappin', which is the featured collection of next month. And I went ahead and went forward to create both of these early so that I knew what I was doing and they would know what I was doing and they would know that I am going to continue. So over on the right, I love this little open book and the little reading glasses, and I thought that would be so cute on the decorative element of the flip flap. But somehow I really need to tie in those florals from the left page and bring that over to tie into the right. So I decided to add a little leaf and a smaller flower that matches the flower on the left cluster, just to sort of make the right and the left page coordinate. And I love how it turned out and how those little reading glasses look, and yet there's still room on there to journal, and I love that as well. You would have some journaling space probably over on the doily. You could actually journal on the starter kit background page there, and then you'd have, depending on how much you want to say, you would have space here on the 3x3 white daisy piece that I'm putting on this decorative element as well. I'm going to add a sticker to the top of that, but of course you could fit that sticker in a number of other places if you needed more journaling space. But I love adding extra little words over there and tying the theme all together. Now I'm just again reiterating that you could actually journal on the doily over on the left side as well. So I'm going to slide that into the flip flap. Now lots of people use flip flaps. Some people don't like the added bulk. So I'm designing this page so that you could do it with or without those 4x4 flip flaps. You could decorate right on the square without having the flip flap element and just simply have 3 photos on the right page, or you could even make the journaling square into a photo. Now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you know what? I think it would be wonderful to add a second flip flap, because then I would get even more photo opportunities. So right now I have 5 photo opportunities on the right page and 1 photo opportunity on the left page, which is pretty good actually for a single layout. And that is also a Simply Scrappin' promise that I make. I always make a promise that it will be functional and there will be plenty of photo opportunities, but adding a flip flap would likely give me a minimum of 2 more photos. It could potentially give me 3 more photos. So what I've done is I used a 4x4 of the word paper, a 3.5 by 3.5 of the melon paper, and a 3x3 photo on the top. And that actually gave me a photo underneath and a 3x3 photo on top. So it gave me 2 additional photo opportunities. So if you do not like flip flaps, flaps. You can literally leave them off and it will still be adorable. You can just decorate on the top right square on the right page and then leave the flip flap off of the second flip flap off of the right page. Some people add their flip flaps to the top of their page protectors, right over the spots so that they go perfectly over the layout. Some people like to create a small slit in their page protector and feed that flip flap through so that you actually have the interactive element on the top, but it actually is still part of the page. So I have put those flip flaps directly on the page. So now all that is left is adding a few extra stickers. I added a sticker over to the right. I kind of tried to add a heart sticker, but it didn't quite go, but we still have our dots. And we have some sparkly dots, we have some solid colored dots, we have all different colors that would coordinate. So I'm just simply going to add a few little dots to put the finishing touches on this page. And I'm so happy with how it turned out. I hope it makes my Simply Scrappers happy because it is still simple but functional. It has lots of photo opportunities on it. It's still beautiful. And what I love is the startup kit savings. So the startup kit savings this month, those startup kits are $8.95 normally, and they are on sale at 20% off this month. So it's only $6.95. Do you know what? The Picture My Life cards that I normally add to my Simply Scrappin' workshops are typically $7.95. So we're actually going to complete a 10-page workshop for $1 cheaper. So we are going to have our add-on be $6.95 this month instead of $7.95 with the Picture My Life card. So I just lucked out that this is working out, and you can hear the excitement in my voice because I really wanted to be able to offer this style of a kit for all my Simply Scrappers. And I'm so excited because now when I complete the rest of the workshop, look at all of the bits that I still have from that startup kit. All of those pieces on the left are from the startup kit still. All of these pieces, the photo mats and those background pieces are all from the startup kit with that sort of sage theme with a title. Then I still have all of those stickers left from Cozy Up and all of the Cozy Up pattern papers still left. Look at all that's left. It's crazy how much is still left from this kit, and we're going to have so much fun creating 4 two-page layouts to complete this workshop. I hope that you are inspired to use our startup kits either as is to create a completely pre-cut layout in no time flat, or to add it to one of our existing paper packs and sticker sheets to stretch into many more functional and beautiful pages. Hey, please hit subscribe and come back again. Happy scrapping. Bye-bye.